separate the front from the back. All right, so that's what we're going to do first of all. We want to section the front away from the back. Very similar to every other haircut you did. We're going to make 5 sections here. We're going to take it from the center of the eyebrow and the center of the eyebrow. This is what? The top of the head. We're going to take a clip and we're going to section that out. We're going to section our sides, but we're going to leave the perimeter. When you do the haircut, you want to do the perimeter first. The perimeter is the outer edge of the haircut. It's going to determine how long or how short you're going to make it, right? Now, I'm going to part this right down the center.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now I'm going to raise my client up so that I can see her where I'm cutting. I'm going to start in the back. I'm going to hold this out a little bit. If I hold this at a 45, it's not going to be a solid line. And anytime you have a 90-degree haircut or a very layered haircut, you don't see solid lines in it. So I'm going to cut. I start in the center and then go from one side to the other. See if it's even. I always want to check if it's even in the beginning, because then you're going to have to go through and cut the whole thing over again. Now again, I'm going to hold this out. Actually, I'm going to hold it up because I want this to be layered. See the difference? If I would have held that at 0, she'd have had a straight baby bang. So I want to go in. I'm going to cut diagonally here, holding it out. I'm going to hold it diagonal, connecting my dots from the front to the back. I could slide cut it. Or I can cut it like I did on that side, so that's an option. Okay, so that's basically the length of my haircut. It's going to come towards her face. Now I'm going to lower her. Now this is like the heavy layer haircut that you learned. we're gonna cut the top section first. We're gonna take a 1/2 inch section out of the center and do our guideline. 90 degrees out from where it grows. You notice I have that in my hand, but I didn't cut it because I'm over directing it and it would be longer. So I want this to be basically the same length. Now I take my section horizontally, and there's my guide. It's peeking up right through the center where I put it. Cutting it, cutting it, cutting it. Cutting it. Now what's going to be different about this haircut is from here on in you're going to cut vertical. Everything you've learned so far has been horizontal. Everything you learned so far is going to be a stationary guide. This is a traveling guide. This guide will move every time you cut a new section. So I cut the front, the top. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to use my guide. I'm going to cut a center section down the back, holding it at 90 from the first guide. I'm going to get this hair all out of the way again. So here's my guide. Now I'm going to hold it at 90. There's my guide. I'm going to cut. This is going to take the shape of the head. So you see, when you come around, it's going to be curved so that it's all equal. If you hold it up like this, you're going to create length. We're going to hold it straight out from where it grows using a traveling guide. Now that is no longer useful to me. I'm going to take a section from the part I just cut. I'm going to cut. Now, this part, you have to tilt your head over. That's straight. Hold it straight out and cut. Hold this straight out, and I'm going to do a little blend there because I want to leave her length. Now, I'm going to cut this side first. This guy is going to travel. This is just like the haircut I did yesterday for you, only the one I did yesterday for you was shorter. Now, there's my guide. I travel it to the new section that I'm going to cut. Here's my guide. I travel it to the new section and I cut. Tilting her head down. And don't think that you shouldn't be moving their head around. They're used to it, okay? There's my guide and I cut. You see I'm holding that hair, and what am I holding it at? I'm probably holding it at over 90, but I'm not cutting it. Because if I cut it there, it's going to be what, longer. Remember, you're interested in the hair you're leaving, not the hair you're cutting, okay? So be aware of that. There's my guide, and I'm going to cut. Okay, I take some of my previous section. See my guide? Cut. Now another thing about this haircut is you're cutting on top of your fingers. Everything else that you cut so far was under your fingers. So that's the difference. Pull it over, bring the hair to you. There's my guide. And I want to blend it. Take the next section. There's my guide. What happens if you don't see the guide? Don't cut it, because you're not holding it where you should be. Bring your guide over to you and cut. Travel your guide. Some of you, this is going to be easy easy to do because a lot of you wanted to travel a guide anyway. So, okay, now I did that one side. Now I cut this vertically so I can check it horizontally. Now if I look at that, you can see how nice that lays? Pretty good. Can you guys see something that might need touched up?
On the side?
Right here. I think that's a little bit not in sync, right there. But the rest of it looks really good. So I'm gonna pull it up, and that's what I'm looking for. If I wanted to take that little bit off, I could. See right here, that's a little heavy. So all I want to do is over direct it and cut it. Anytime you over direct it, you're never going to put a line in it. If I were to take this and go boing like that, you're going to see a definite line, and that's something you don't want to see. You want this here to flow. Okay? Now we're going to cut the other side. And lower her. I'm still going to stand on the same side to cut this because it's where I'm comfortable, all right? But what I have to do is lower her because I'm going to be reaching over her head. So what am I going to do with the hair what am I going to do with my guide? Am I going to pull that hair towards me? No. I'm going to pull that hair away from me this time because it has to go where it grows. The guide's going to travel. All right, let's see if we can find our guide. And we can't. Good job. Okay, so now this guide, and I only picked up a little bit of hair, that's what I need to cut. I'm going to take half of my guide, and I'm going to travel it over, and there's my guide. So I'm traveling it over to the section I am cutting. So now, since I'm still standing on this side, I'm pushing the hair away from me. Here's my guide. I'm going to cut.